Welcome to Okoboji Broadcast. I'm Jeff Thie. We're coming to you from the Dickinson County Nature Center today, and we're going to be talking with Josh Kirschbaum of the Okoboji Underwater Recovery, and we're going to be talking about the boat that was brought up last weekend. But Okoboji Broadcast is brought to us by Brand's Law Office in Spirit Lake, Synergy Chiropractic and Acupuncture in Okoboji, Bloom & Leonard Agency in Esterville, and H&P Insurance Agency with offices in Sibley and Rock Rapids, Ruthven Locker in Spirit Lake, Beck Engineering in Spirit Lake, and B Radiant Laser Skin Studio located in Spirit Lake. So, Josh, my goodness, you had a big weekend last weekend, I tell ya.
Yeah, got the call to do it about a month ago, and we've kind of been setting up, getting things planned with talking to the museum and the DNR and Sheriff's Department to make sure everything was in line to do the job and that we didn't have extra paperwork that the DNR and stuff would have to fill out. And
yes.
We got the okay, and we were just praying for good ice conditions to make one last attempt to get out there, and happened to be that a week ago, or Saturday, and got her out, and it was definitely a fun task to do it.
I bet it was, and before we go any further on that, the car went in today.
Yes, it did.
So you've got a busy day ahead of you. You brought out a boat, and now you got to go get the car.
It'll probably be either today or tomorrow. So
yeah.
We'll get the Arnold's Park Okoboji Fire and Rescue. That'll help with that as well. So.
Right, and you get the time on it, and somebody's going to win some money. So always one of those big. It's like the taco house opening and the car going in are the two signs of spring here in Okoboji.
And then usually a week after the car goes in, the lakes usually are about out.
Well, let's get that baby going for sure. Well, let's talk about first of all what led up to this. Local fisherman was out. Was it last year? A couple
2 years ago, he was fishing in his boat and picked it up on his sonar, and so he marked the spots, dropped a pin on it, and Chad Thompson came back last winter to try and ice fish it and locate it again, and the waters were pretty murky at that time last year.
Right.
And so he saved the waypoints or whatever, and this winter he went out there early December and dropped his camera down and was in with like 20 feet of it, and he's like, wow. He goes, that's a boat. So then he was talking to Stephen Deercup about possibly finding somebody to pull it up or whatnot. And my wife actually works with him, and she's like, well, come check out, what Josh does, because he follows us. And
sure.
He asks, what it costs to do something like that. And we pretty much told him, with that situation, we donate all our time and equipment.
Wow.
And just to get it up as an archive and stuff. So.
Yes, absolutely. Well, let's talk about your team, Okoboji Underwater Recovery, because it's not just you, and you've got family in there and everything else.
Yeah, so pretty much it's my dad started it about 8 or 10 years ago with me and Jason. He was in it with Tom Coleman and Kevin Coleman when they first were basically the ones that do everything around here.
Okay.
And eventually me and Jason took over the reins, and Dad still comes out and helps us, and we got Dallas Lowry as a diver, Dave Nelson helps us dive in, my brother's a primary diver, and then we got Neil Hogue that helps us, and Josh Roberts helps us, and a few other guys, Kevin Winters that fills in and helps when we need help. So
got to have fuzz in there too.
Oh yeah,
that's right. Well, let's talk about first of all, you went out when there is still ice on the lake. What was the reason for that?
Basically, we wanted to check to make sure we had enough strength for the ice to hold us and get equipment out there, and we wanted to do different testing with the ice to see where we had good ice, bad ice, and we could maneuver on and off the shore, and we wanted to get it all set up and ready so when we got out there we could cut the hole and pop it out. So
would it be more difficult when the lakes are open and if you got some pitch going on and so forth, better to be on solid ice for recovery like this?
On something like this, one of the boats they pulled out 25 years ago, they did it in open water and got it out. But when you're talking something that's been down that long a time and it's brittle and stuff just crumbles, being on the hard ice and being able to sling it and get it to come up is one, versus taking a chance of splitting it in two and that kind of thing is why we chose to do it when it was frozen.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I happen to be on that barge 30 years ago or whatever, 20 if I can't recall, but the 30 boat that's now sits in the Maritime Museum, and it was so interesting when the divers came up and they had the balloons around it, and it came up, and what was so interesting is it was a wooden boat, and when the sunlight hit it for the first time in 46 years or whatever that time was, that varnish started peeling back immediately. No zebra mussels at that time,
Yep.
but it was fascinating to see what the being in the light of day and heat again did to that
Yep.
boat.
Yeah, the biggest thing on wood boats, I mean, when they're down that deep, they say anything below 40 feet, usually there's not much oxygen, so they preserve themselves.
Yes.
And then it's when you get them out is when things start deteriorating, and that's why Chad's going to work on getting some oil on it so it helps protect it and keep it from decaying even more.
Sure. So okay, so you're out there, you're on the ice, you drill the hole, and who all dove down?
So the original, when they went out to look for it, it was just my brother and Dallas Lowry dove. And then Dave Nelson and Neil were tending them, and they did a video of it, you know, just initially see what the boat was and what they were dealing with, and that way it gave us an idea of what we needed to bring and how to get it out. So
yeah, okay, so then they're down there, and what's about 8-inch straps were used to get underneath it?
Yep, 8-inch straps. I mean, we'd put them on the front and back, and then we had some spreader bars made so we could keep it away from the sides of the boat, so we wouldn't fold the sides in, because the sides were pretty much the most brittle part of that boat. And we don't want to take a chance of completely destroying the boat before it came up. So.
And, you know, I thought what was interesting, I was looking at some of the reports on it, and the hand pump was still sitting in the back. So evidently something happened. And they tried
pumping the water out.
It
it's definitely an old school where you pump it by hand and the hose is still on it, and obviously a lot of the metal's corroded on it, but at some point they were pumping water.
Yeah.
So.
And now, do we have I know you guys, Bill Maas, you're trying to find out the registry on it, the history on it, but do we have an idea of what year boat, and was it a Century? Is that
Century.
what it was? A Century boat?
Century Sea made.
Okay, and kind of what year?
About
and maybe
1943 is what they're thinking, kind of a pre-war type thing, but we're trying to find some numbers on it, and my dad's going to work on casting numbers on the motor to see what he can come up with. So,
and that'll give you the year of when it was constructed. But does anybody? I mean, were there any reports? Does anybody have an idea of when this might have gone down?
There's talked to a few of the old boys that we've talked to, and they've heard of stuff that's gone down, but not exactly sure where. And talking to Bill Moss a couple days ago, yesterday actually, and he was kind of filling me in on, because he's interested in working with law enforcement, and he's going to do some digging on what he can find on it. And he thought it was, you know, back in the 50s, a kid was out test driving a boat and ended up cracking and took on water and the boat sank. And that's kind of what he's thinking, but he's not really sure.
Yeah. Well, maybe more history of the boat itself will come to light as more investigation goes on. So you guys have talked to Mary Kennedy at the Maritime Museum there at the amusement park, and they're interested in possibly, after you do some work on it, have it on display.
Yep, we talked to her, and then we also talked to Jeff Vierkamp. We had a big meeting with him, and once we get it cleaned up and Chad gets it all prepped, they'll have a display made for it and end up putting it in there and have a grand opening type thing for it.
Yeah. So. Well, wonderful. Well, it's just such an exciting story, and you're already cleaning it up. You're getting some of the zebra mussels and so forth off of it.
Yep. Chad Thompson started that Sunday. We got it out. Basically, we brought it down to the ramp for him and got washers going so he could start rinsing things out and scraping some of the zebra mussels, because obviously with zebra mussels, they're invasive species, and he doesn't have the permit to be able to haul it around. So that's why we brought it back to our facility, and he's working on it. Once he gets the zebra mussels off, it'll go to his place. So. Sure.
Yeah. Well, Josh, it's just so exciting, and thank you, first of all, for volunteering, giving of yourselves to do this, and at no cost, and everyone's going to benefit from being able to see this boat once again, and of course all the work you guys do with the Okoboji underwater recovery. Such an asset to the Iowa Great Lakes, and it's greatly appreciated by many of us.
Yep, and we appreciate doing what we do, and we don't do it for the fame and glory. We just do it to help people out, and want everybody to be safe, especially when they're up here in the lakes area. So
yeah, that's right. There's an old saying that I used to hear that if you go toe-to-toe with the lake's going to win. So
yep. Oh, yeah.
So, well, wonderful. Now, if people want information on Okoboji underwater recovery, how do they best get in touch with you guys?
We got a big Facebook page that we set up quite a few years ago, and we do everything on the Facebook. We don't have a website for it, but we also followed off my business of Ducky's Marine and Power Sport Repair.
Right.
And then my brother with Rock Solid Masonry as well. And My dad's Bob's Repair, but obviously he's getting to the point of retiring, so.
Well, someone's got to fill in for Dad.
Yep.
Then. Yeah, that's the way it goes. My friend, thank you for coming to the Nature Center and telling the story. A lot of people are so interested in it, so thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
All right, Josh Kirschbaum been with us here today from the Dickinson County Nature Center. We want to thank Josh for being here. We want to thank the Nature Center for giving us a great venue, and we thank you for watching us right here on Okoboji Broadcast.